Hi, my name is Michael Shorts, a Colorado master gardener located in the fantastic Front Range. In this video, my beautiful wife Lisa will show you how and when to repot an orchid.
I've been growing orchids for about 1.5 years now, and I want to share some tips with you. If your orchid is finished blooming and is still thriving, now is a great time to repot it. So here are the items you will need. First of all, your plant that's ready to be repotted. As you can see, the flowers are spent and the stalks are dry, so this is really ready to be redone. A sharp pair of clippers, an assortment of orchid potting pots, a spray bottle with hydrogen peroxide, another bottle with rubbing alcohol, some gloves to protect your hands, some Phalaenopsis orchid bark, and also some orchid moss. We'll be using all of this in our repotting today. I like to repot my orchids in the kitchen. That way I have access to running water. So it's important to start by watering your orchid. That helps soften the roots to avoid breakage. I've already watered this orchid, so we're ready to get started. I'm going to remove the clips and the nice stalks that supported the flowers. And I'm going to keep these because I hope this orchid is going to bloom again. Then I'm going to take my shears and I'm going to cut off the old stalks down near the bottom, being careful not to cut any of the leaves. You can throw those away. After you've used your clippers, always make sure to sterilize them with some rubbing alcohol. That way you don't share any diseases between your orchids. Go ahead and take your orchid out of your decorative pot, but keep on this because you're going to need it again. Most orchids will come from the store in a very cheap grower's pot. They're kind of flimsy and they have no ventilation in them except for just a drainage hole at the bottom. So I'm going to get rid of this and we're going to use a much better pot. So kind of gently squeeze it and see if you can gently remove your orchid. And if not, feel free to just cut this apart. And the orchid came out pretty well. This medium is also very old and I want to discard it and start with some fresh medium. So we're just going to carefully pull it all off. So you want to be careful not to hurt your roots while you're doing this. And the roots here look pretty good. They're very green and healthy and there's a lot of them. So this orchid should do really well when it's repotted. Okay, now we have our orchid with its roots. They look pretty healthy. I am going to remove some of the damaged roots. The roots that we want are nice and green and they're kind of firm. Anything that's mushy or empty feeling, like this one right here, see how the skin just pulls right off? We're just going to cut that off. And there's probably some old roots at the bottom. Your orchid will always grow its new roots closest to the top, so the oldest roots are at the bottom. If you're going to get rid of some, those are the ones to get rid of. And some of these are just down to little strings. I would cut those off too. There's no point in keeping those. They're not helping the orchid at all. And finally, sometimes you'll see a little tip that's brown. Go ahead and cut that off too. It'll be better without it. Now we're going to rinse the leaves or the roots really well. They should turn a nice bright color green, and these all look very healthy. And I'm going to take my hydrogen peroxide spray now, and I'm going to spray the roots. And this will get rid of any mildew or mold that may have been growing on the roots, so they'll be nice and healthy when we repot them. And just let this sit for a few minutes until it dries. Now our orchid is ready to repot. So we need to select a pot that's just the right size. We want to give it some room to grow, but orchids do like to have their roots crowded just a little bit. So don't pick a pot that's too big. I like to use clear plastic pots For one thing, I can see the roots. I can often see if they're too wet or too dry. This one comes with a lot of ventilation, little holes all around it. And it also has a little rise on the bottom. There are little feet. So if this orchid were to end up sitting in a little bit of water, it would actually protect the roots from getting too soggy. So I'm going to start by filling our medium in the pot. I use a combination of bark and sphagnum moss. I find that all bark is too dry, all moss is just a little too wet, and a combination of both is just right. So here we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. I made sure that there aren't a lot of air holes down in here because we want the roots to have access to bark and water and whatnot. So at this point, we want to give our orchid a good watering. And I put it under running water and make sure that I soak everything really well. Probably water it for about a good minute. And then I'm going to let all the excess water drain off because we don't want to have our orchid standing in standing water. And another important tip is after you've watered your orchid, it's okay if the leaves get wet. In fact, they'll probably like it, but you do not want to have standing water inside the crown of the orchid, which is right here. If you get water in there, you can get crown rot. And if you get crown rot, your orchid will be a goner. So what I do is I tip it over a little bit and blow gently to blow any excess water out. So the final step is to put your orchid back in the decorative pot and put it in a nice bright window where it can get a lot of sunlight, but not direct sunlight. Hopefully in a few months, you'll see some orchid spikes coming out, and then your orchid will be ready to bloom. So good luck and enjoy your orchid.
If you like this kind of gardening content, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and as always, happy gardening.
Happy gardening.